is going to be a Jiraxis-laden
Demon Handlock.
handlock. Yeah, demon handlock. So not necessarily your standard handlock, and I'm wondering if he cut out mountain giants. I didn't get a chance to see exactly. So
I think we saw this. We saw Goody play once yesterday, so we're kind of. I mean, for instance, we saw a lot of players play twice yesterday, and so we're gonna have to watch these matches to jog our own memories about what actually happened or what decks they were playing.
all right, well, we are going to see the mulligan debating over getting a power overwhelming in the opening hand, but it is going to be kind of cool to see. Demon versus demon, although certainly very different varieties of the two.
Yeah. I do believe we saw two versions of Handlock yesterday. One demon and one non-demon Handlock, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not.
One was definitely more demon than the other. And keep in mind, traditionally, demon or handlock doesn't actually run any demons, with the exception of Jiraxis, maybe. So this is a little bit of a big departure. So we've got the more zoo-based demon, the zoo demon on the bottom warlock, with the handlock demon on the top.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Maybe there wasn't an actual normal Handlock. Maybe this is the only Handlock and it's a demon one.
All right. Well, regardless, at least for the time being, move or love rather. I saw the M love and I was like, move. Anyway, love is in a pretty decent spot. He's going to coin out his Void Caller, and that has the potential to be very, very big. If it dies really soon, that's a free Doom Guard on the field.
Yep, getting a Doom Guard without having to discard any cards, and it costing 4 mana on top of that. Pretty nice. And it looks like he's just going to get it. Because, I mean, this Ancient Watcher actually a little bit of liability at the moment. He might just implosion onto this. Why would you do that, though?
Because you're going to get 4 imps, obviously. I think, putting out the Doom Guard is obviously the better play there. But maybe just saving resources for a little bit later. He's worrying about the Equality Consecrate, obviously. I don't know. It's not...
I say just take the free Doom Guard. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, on the list of things that are pretty good in this game, free Doom Guard's pretty far up there. So, I mean, I certainly wouldn't say no to one of those. But then again, I'm not the one playing in this tournament, so.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, not to toot my own horn here, but I did play in the BlizzCon Championship last year, so I feel like I can analyze this game pretty well and not go with the Well, I guess it's just gonna bait the Hellfire, I suppose. But anyway.
And there's your free Doom Guard.
There's your free Doom Guard. Anyway, well, I guess as I was bragging a little bit, I suppose. I mean, the reason why I say that is because obviously you're more of the caster angle, I'm more of the player angle, but and you're saying, like, well, I'm not there, I'm not the actual player, maybe he's better, but from my point of view, I think that wasn't the greatest
We have
play.
both perspectives there. So now the question that you have is, do you drop double Doom Guard? You get really bad discards, possibly, but I think this is definitely the better play. You run tons of damage to the face, 8 damage there from that Doom Guard swing, but upcoming are going to be some pretty good giant turns. You can throw out a Molten and no BGH target. That's really, really key because otherwise that Doom Guard might have been in BGH range if he had played like the Wolf as well.
By the way, is TGT out? That Doom Guard looks like a fearsome Doom Guard to me. It's got those 6/8 stats. Okay, sorry, that was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, you almost got me there. I was like, wait a second. That is a card, but I don't see it. Oh yeah, wait, there it is.
It's a fearsome Doom Guard taunted by a Sun Fury Protector in the middle, obviously. In any case, okay. Apart from the criticism we've given Love here, he has played this out decently well. Maybe that was just a bait to get the Hellfire on the opponent, because maybe his opponent thinks, why wouldn't you take the free Doom Guard there? And so then he Hellfires and he faces down a Doom Guard that gets in 6 damage in the following turn. So turned out well for Love, regardless of how we've gotten here. And on the side of Gudu, he had to go with the Siphon Soul. Couldn't play out his Molten Giants because just facing down way too much damage, and he didn't have that taunt available to him. And he's gonna need the taunt now. Oh, he's in a lot of
Question
trouble.
is, yeah, what he draws here is going to be really big. He draws Healbot, and then is not the card he needed. You can play down double giants, but it's not. Does that keep him alive? He's going to heal 8 off of that's 15 health, and on board. Well, plus, I mean, we know he has Doom Guard, but
Yeah, I mean, there's guaranteed 12 damage on the board already, plus potential knives, and yeah, obviously Doomguard kills him. Even something like I mean, Darwhalva doesn't guarantee kill him, but it could kill him. Actually, even the Dr. Boomerang could kill him with a knife juggler if he gets the right rolls. But yeah, pretty tough spot for Gudu here. We know, seeing both hands, that he has to tap here to get a taunt, and looks like he actually agrees with that. Oh, and he gets it! He gets the taunt! But is he still dead, is the question. Is there a way for Love to get through this? Actually, I would have liked to see him play the Big Im Hunter first. And then, well, maybe he could use it for the Dr. Boom, I suppose, but, in any case, that was a huge draw, to borrow a phrase from Admirable. And can Love get through this and secure lethal? The math is pretty interesting here. He's playing a little bit. I guess he has it anyway, regardless. Yeah, he has it anyway. Okay, so looked like he was playing a little bit too fast there. Kind of missed the damage, but in the end, doesn't matter. He had it all mapped out. Didn't matter where the knife juggles went, and yeah, gets the win off of getting a lot of pressure.
And reminds me a little bit more of old zoo matchups where your job is to play so quickly, so aggressively early on, the handlock just can't recover in time, and it's so large was the advantage there for Love that he was able to get through double taunted Molten Giants, which is the punishment, the penalty for going too quickly early on and giving your opponent those huge monsters so early in the game. But man, just so much damage early on. Love up 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. In that matchup, you really want to be putting out threatening minions, the guys with 3 attack, 4 attack. And it would seem to be counterintuitive, right? Because your opponent can maybe just Hellfire your board. But at the same time, if you're just putting out things like Haunted Creepers and Eggs, like, yeah, they're annoying to deal with. But handlock sitting there taking 1 damage a turn, they don't have to deal with it. So, yeah, you have to find that balance. And we're actually going into handlock versus Patron Warrior now. Kind of interesting that Love actually queued Patron Warrior into handlock. It's obviously a very unfavored matchup. Perhaps he was thinking about the mind games. Maybe Gudu decides, oh, he is definitely not going to be playing Patron, so therefore I'm going to not pick handlock, and so that maybe Love thinks that he won't pick handlock, so therefore he goes to Patron. Everything's really confusing. But I guess what we could be thinking is maybe both his Paladin and his Patron Warrior are weak against the handlocks. He might as well just get the loss out of the way.
Right, and I think that's definitely the way to go when you think about Warrior or at least Patron Warrior playing into this handlock. What's your judge about that matchup? And necessarily considering the variants that we're seeing here, I don't think there's too many variants to the Patron Warrior, but this is a slightly different. I think this is the most standard handlock we've seen all tournament.
Yeah, one of the more standard ones, absolutely. And as far as the Patron strategy, you're just trying to look for a chance to OTK the handlock. And it's just, even though obviously he's going to be tapping, he's going to be down likely below 20 health for the majority of the match, he's going to have those huge taunts. So you're actually trying to get through much more, and your guys going to be dying on the way there. So that's the problem with the Patron Warrior. And sometimes, like in this situation, you see the handlock just get so much pressure on the board, and it really limits the amount of time that Patron has in order to go ahead and kill the handlock.
Okay, well, very good start for the handlock player, or for the Patron player, because you've got everything that you need in your hand, with the exception of Frothing Berserkers. You've got double Whirlwinds out there on the field. I guess you don't have the ability to get 4 patrons on turn 5. But at the same time, you've got a huge handful of everything you need. So if like next turn you draw Emperor, that's the perfect time to drop that one. If you draw things like Inner Rage, you can also get the 4 patrons out there as well.
Yeah, it looks like Love is going to go ahead and draw off of this. The problem is, we see the Grom. He has 9 cards in hand, so yeah, he's gonna have to get rid of this coin, unfortunately, to make sure he doesn't overdraw. Love could actually still, or sorry, excuse me, Guru can still actually make him overdraw if he decides to toss his Mortal Coil and then run the Mountain Giant into it. But kind of a waste of time to do that. You're gonna be wasting a lot of damage. I don't know if you need to Dark Bomb this. I guess it can provide the extra damage onto the Mountain Giant if he wants to face tank it as Love. But yeah, to go back to your comment earlier about, I mean, yes, the patron does have resources in hand, but I wouldn't say this is a good position at all because he's facing so much damage from his opponent.
Yeah, just thinking about the amount of damage that could be possible there. The patron coming out opens up so many possibilities. It's only turn 7, and you can already have, okay, well, right as I talk about that, the Lotheb comes down, so that's going to put a little bit of a
yeah, was that Lotheb top decked?
It was.
So like, let's see. So the Whirlwind is still, the Whirlwind's gonna be too expensive. What can he do here? I was thinking maybe he still has
that
lethal.
Lotheb.
Maybe he still has lethal with the unstable goal only. No, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, you need the second Whirlwind effect to even get in that range.
So is he just dead?
Yeah. I mean, he can already play the execute and put up a taunt. So. Does he still die here? I'm trying to think. Yeah, because you have the Siphon Soul. Yep. So Siphon Soul and hit him in the face.
All right, and that's gonna do it. But the thing is, even if he didn't have lethal here, talking about Guru, then Love would have to pick up more pieces because he wouldn't have lethal the following turn, because he played out that unstable goal. So definitely overall good play by Guru. Pretty quick win there. Basically able to pressure before the patron can get enough things rolling, and that's basically how the matchup goes a decent chunk of the time. It's too many big guys, too hard to deal with for the patron, and you just die. Before the best way to kill patron, the best way to beat a patron, just kill him. Right? Just don't let him kill you. Just kill him first.
Yeah, sounds like a good strategy. That's something I would do if that were an option for me. I'm hitting a little bit of lag on streams, so I'm going to go ahead and drop a quick refresh while we get into our next game.
Yep, we're just looking at the stage right now, so you do have that time. I'm having a little trouble with the bottom of the screen cutting off sometimes. I wonder if...
Yesterday it was the top of the screen, now it's the bottom of the screen. There's just screens everywhere.
All right, maybe it's okay now. I guess I'll stop looking at OBS. I'll just look at the screen myself. Makes it easier on my eyes as well. We'll just go with that. All right, so we see the Druid against the Patron Warrior. Pretty even matchup. Patron Warrior, when it gets his combos off, the Druid just dies. But Druid can sometimes ramp too fast for the Patron to deal with it. And we see the Darnassus Aspirant. Oh, this is Ramp Druid. Hello, Kel'Thuzad.
All right, yeah, there's going to be a lot of ramp going on. So the Kel'Thuzad, interesting. I haven't seen that in too many ramp druids. Ideally, that's the dream for your ramp, is that you ramp up, you drop a bunch of stuff, and then it all gets infinite value. So I feel like Kel'Thuzad a lot of times is a win more card. So maybe not necessarily as great as a big win condition, but I guess it can be a win condition too if you drop it down and your opponent realizes all of a sudden that they can't kill your minions on the board without taking that out first.
Yeah, and even calling it a win more card kind of well, it is a win more card, but it's kind of selling the short the theory of win more, right? Because if you can turn your 60% win percentage into something like 90%, that's really, really good, right? So just make it basically impossible for your opponent to come back. I'll take it.
Sounds good. I can confirm it's a good thing to take. Darnassus Aspirant down there on the field, 5 mana when your opponent has only 2. Sounds good to me. However, it won't be staying that way very long. Coin Despite next turn should take care of that.
Yep, absolutely. Going to take it away, which means that Guru is going to be left with only 5 mana this coming turn, and it's going to have to top deck something.
Yeah, very high curve in the head, which ideally wouldn't have been necessarily all that terrible, but with 5 mana, yeah, you definitely do need something. And an entirely, the Tempo BGH. I guess technically okay. I mean, maybe you kill Grom with it later on if they run Grom, but...
Yeah, this is pretty standard. This is pretty standard play from a Druid against a Patient Warrior, because yes, you know the frothings can get pretty big, but at that time you're probably pretty dead anyway, and you do have Wrath to clear those guys out if it ever comes to it. So yeah, much better to get this BGH, put some pressure on your opponent, do that damage, kind of force Love to actually kill this. He doesn't want to kill this. He wants to wait until he gets in a way to propagate his patrons, but which he can do 2 turns from now. But that's he's taking 12 damage at that point.
Yeah, ooh. And as we just saw in our last game, when you get too low as Patron Warrior setting up for your combo, sometimes maybe if you're 1 turn off of it, you still just die. So can't be too greedy with that.
Missing this turn as Gudu might actually just cost him the game, because he had an amazing curve otherwise. If he just picked up a 6 drop or even just a 5 drop, even a 4 drop, honestly, he could have gone that guy, put a lot of pressure onto Love, go into a 7 drop, go into Kel'Thuzad, whatever 7 drop, doesn't even matter which one it is. And then Love would have been in a horrible spot. But as it stands, Love can sit here. He can actually just armor up and just take that 12 damage. Maybe even just play out this this Frothing Berserker to put some pressure onto his opponent. But yeah, he's got... Now Love's got options. Whereas if you just saw Gudu putting down those bombs, then Love would be in a really horrible spot. As it stands, Love is looking in prime position to get those dreaded 4 patrons onto the board on turn 6.
All right, yeah, turn 6. I guess theoretically, the worst situation you could be in for the Druid is to see 3 or 4 patrons developed on the board already. Now you don't have to deal with that. You've already taken out one of their 4 win conditions by eliminating that Frothing Berserker, and I mean it's looking pretty good. Granted, the Ancient of War makes you feel pretty good regardless of who you're facing off against, but now how do you get rid of that? Okay, well there is an Execute in hand, but how do you both clear that off and have enough mana to start getting the combos you need before you just get out tempoed on board?
Well, you could just make 4 patrons. Is what you could just do, and just not even worry about that right now. But you're referring to Frothing as a bit of a win condition. In this matchup, it's not as much so. You basically, a lot of times you play as a tempo card to make room for your patrons, because if your opponent can't deal with your patrons, you eventually just win. But we are getting to that point where maybe the opponent has something like combo to combo clear the patrons. So I guess in that situation, something like Frothing Berserker might be valuable. But yeah, as you were mentioning, this is a tough turn for Love. You could make 2 patrons and execute, but I mean, in that situation, Gudu just goes for a Wrath here. But yeah, really tough situation. He's just gonna go for the 2. Make sure that Ancient War can't clear off some of his patrons. Now, what do you do from Gudu's perspective?
What do you do if you're Gudu? Well,
oh, you pick up the keeper, so you just clear the board. Yeah, that's what you do.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, so that takes out 2 win conditions. I guess quote unquote win conditions theoretically. There's patron number 1 gone and a Frothing Berserker off the field. So you know that you're starting to get yourself into a position where your opponent may be running out of options.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the ways you actually deal with the Patron Warrior, is if somehow you can clear the patrons, then they really have nothing to do, because they're not going to really OTK you. You're going to put... Basically, once you get rid of the patrons, you're kind of turned into like the Handlock versus patron matchup, because you're putting so much pressure on, just like Handlock can do. And at the same time, they're just... I mean, they can't sit there and wait for an opportunity to Frothing Berserker OTK you. Because yeah, again, way too much pressure. So this is one of the ways Druid could win. They just take care of the patrons early, and from there, their stuff is just bigger. And as we said countless times, there is just a limited amount of threats that come from the patron. In any case, we have a question in the chat. Who is casting besides C2? I'm sorry, I forgot to put that in the title. It is Rapid Casting. Very, very good caster. What do you typically cast? You cast
I cast a lot of League of Legends, but pretty much any esport in Asia. I was actually just started casting AVA the other day, so that's how you know it's the full commitment. But yeah, mostly League of Legends, a lot of Japanese League of Legends specifically. So starting to get now into Chinese Hearthstone, and man, Chinese Hearthstone, when they play Hearthstone, they like to go for the long haul, not just like the Celestial series, even these games, we've had tons of games every day, but by and large, they haven't actually been pretty spectacular games.
Okay, while you're talking, a really risky play out there by Gudu. Trying to snipe off this Frothing Berserker with boom bots, and it's really gonna backfire on him because now we have a 13-3 Frothing Berserker that's about to smash into his face. And I wouldn't be opposed to just throwing down a Warsong Commander here. Looks like he's not gonna go for it because, I mean, unless he has combo clear, you can't really deal with the Warsong and the Frothing on the board. So yeah, I would have liked to see that. Oh, looks like we're having Skype issues with Rapid. Give me 1 second. I guess I'm gonna have to just stop these sounds from going on and wait for him to call back. In the meantime, we do have that Ancient of Lore, drawing for cards, and the Innervate into the Druid of Claw. Feels bad, man, but when you have to throw your 5-mana minion into a 3-mana minion, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And on the bright side, there goes the second Frothing Berserker, and there are no patrons in hand, so as bad as it looked for Gudu for a second there, he is in full control of this game at the moment. Yeah, Love's gonna go ahead and clear that. Put a patron on, or excuse me, not a patron, but going to put Emperor Thorson on the table. And that might be a little bit scary for Gudu, but as we can see in the hand of Love, there's not much for him to do with this hand. Gudu right now wishing that he had one more mana to be able to go Sludge Belcher into Innervate Kel'Thuzad, but he's just gonna settle for clearing out this Emperor Thorson and innervating this Sludge Belcher, keeping a bit of pressure onto Love. And if Love can't draw anything right now, then he's going to be in a bit of trouble. Second Whirlwind is good, though. If he can top deck Patrons right now, that'd be very good for him. Actually, no, he wouldn't be able to do it this turn. He'd be 1 mana short. But yeah, definitely looking for those Patrons. I don't know why he's like thumbing over these cards. You just throw out the Gnomish Inventor. I don't think there's any world in which you don't throw out the Gnomish Inventor right now. I guess you could play the Warsong and then the Gnomish Inventor, but why? You're not going to die. This is what happens, by the way, guys, when Rapid goes away. I start questioning players' moves much more. So yeah, it plays out the Gnomish Inventor. Now he has 3 Whirlwinds in hand. Very much looking for that last patron. But Kel'Thuzad gonna put a damper to those plans. Going to get out another patron and a slime. Although the slam is not going to help too much if Love does hit that 9.1% chance of getting his last patron, as you can see on that wonderful Chinese graphic there. But if he does get it, he's in awesome shape. I mean, there is 9.1% chance, but I'm assuming that's for the very next card. He can obviously just draw many cards in order to get into that eventually. So probably much more than 9.1% if you consider all the draw in the hand. Gonna put some more taunts on the board, and yeah, just use that guy to kill. I think he's used all his executes if I remember correctly. Now it's 11.1% since he's drawn 2 cards since then. That is a 2/2. Okay, so it's not going to be patron quite yet. And how do you deal with this board from Love? How much damage is on the board at the moment? It's 10, 17, 18. So he has 18 damage on the board. 19 if you include hero power. Wild Growth. Caves and Mystic's not going to do much. Not going to be much help here. But he does have that huge board, so it doesn't really matter too much. Emperor Thorson, also a card that you could use. You could just play that onto the board, get your case in a little bit cheaper. Frothing obviously doesn't matter at the moment because there's no Frothings left. So. Although it doesn't really matter too much. Maybe just hero power, get to a little bit higher health. Maybe there's some outside chance that he gets, he gets through the board while having 6 patrons on board, so he gets you, or having, 6 patrons on board plus an inner rage, and then you kill for 20 damage. Unlikely, but yeah, down to 4 health. There's really nothing for Love to do here. I'm sorry, or sorry for the lag for a second there. Yeah, I don't see how this is gonna help at all. No matter what cards he draws. Armorsmith not gonna help either. Whirlwind not gonna help either. Slam not gonna help either. Love, just give it up, man. Oh, we found it. We found the patron. We got it, boys. And concede. All right. So Gudu takes game number 3, takes a 2-1 lead, and he's that much closer to advancing to the winners match, or the winners bracket of Group B. All right, I'm gonna take a look at Skype for a second to see if Reed is available. Oh, I missed the call. Oops, my bad. Put it on Do Not Disturb. My bad.
There we go.
Hello.
I came back just in time to see the somewhat anticlimactic fishing ending of that game. Unfortunately, Love now dropping or down in the series 2-1.
Yep. Really looking for that patron the entire time. I'm not really sure if he could have cleared the board even with patron. Would have been a tough task.
That's where you get the doomsayer.
Very, very true. In any case, looks like we have a patron mirror on our hands. Oh, no, just kidding. It's a Control Warrior versus Patron Warrior.
All right, wow. It's been a cool minute since I have seen Control Warrior. It's been Patron, Patron, Patron. I mean, Patron's super good, so there's really no reason to go Control Warrior unless you are just super addicted to the new legendaries that you got out there. So what are the Warrior legendaries? I think there's the one that everyone remembers in Varian Win, where you just put 3 minions on the field. That's just like super, super good. But I think the second Warrior legendary that they got was...
Ysera. No, I'm just kidding. Well, there's a golden Ysera. Speaking of which, I actually didn't see that card before it came on the screen, guys. In any case, the reason why you do play Control Warrior, to answer your question, is to counter Patron Warrior. It's pretty much all it does. It's not nearly as good as Patron against pretty much every other class, including even something like Hunter. So yeah, that's basically what you do. I guess it's good against Face Hunter because you have those guaranteed health gains with these shield blocks and the shield maidens, but yeah, for the most part, you play Patron Warrior because you play Control Warrior because you hate Patron Warrior, and Patron Warrior needs to die, so you're going to play one of the only counters to it in Control Warrior.
All right, well, Control Warrior, I mean, does have its place, certainly, and it's going to be interesting to see this, because, I mean, I haven't seen this at all this entire tournament, so we are going to finally get our opportunity to check this out. So, how do you want to play this matchup as the Control Warrior? Because into patrons, they either get a chance to replicate their patrons over and over again, but the Control Warrior just gets tons of armors and taunts up.
Yeah, a lot of people make the mistake of playing too defensive with Control Warrior and just trying to get so much armor that it's impossible for the Patron Warrior to kill them. But that's a little bit of a bad strategy in my case. Especially, I've played a lot of games on the Patron Warrior side, and when the Control Warrior does that strategy, I'm pretty happy because now I have plenty of time to draw into all my combo pieces, and then I just kill them from 60 health. So yeah, so I don't really like that strategy coming from the Control Warrior. I think the much better strategy is to put a bunch of bombs on the table and kind of play it like handlock, where your opponent really can't deal with bomb after bomb after bomb, and that's the one thing I'm most scared of when I'm playing as Patron Warrior against a Control Warrior, is just seeing you see a shield mating and you're like, I can't execute this guy because I know bigger stuff's coming later, but when they don't play their bigger stuff later, I'm like, oh, okay, well now I have more time. So that's pretty much how it goes.
Okay, well, now that we know how it goes, we get a chance to see how it is going. Emperor, a big draw, is going to be playable on turn 6, and that means that, I don't know, combo ability comes up maybe just a little bit faster. Now, unfortunately, for Love, he doesn't really have too many combo pieces in his hand. He's got a couple of Whirlwinds, so I guess that's good to have Emperor for, but no Frothing Berserkers out there.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, if you can...
I say that right as he draws one.
All right, there's the Frothing Berserker. So he could drop it here. He would get a 4-mana Patron, a 2-mana Frothing, and 2 free Whirlwinds. The thing is, what Love has to consider here is, do you want the super duper combo of Warsong, double Frothing, double Whirlwind, and just kill him from basically any possible health total? Or do you want to get this combo out here and basically kill him faster? Because the super combo, you're going to have to wait until you're basically fatiguing to get all those ports put together. And looks like he's just going to go for the 4 patrons. Interesting. It makes a bit of sense. It can buy him some time. It's going to draw out this brawl, but at the same time, it forces your opponent to use your entire turn brawling and essentially armoring up. And then from that point, maybe he can draw into something. Maybe he can draw some more cards. Like, for instance, if he draws an Acolyte, he goes... Oh, there's Skype being stupid again. So, as I was explaining to the viewers, and read a little bit, is that... you draw the Acolyte into slam your own Acolyte, then double Battle Rays, and suddenly you have a ton of cards. But, yeah, so... Actually, very, very unfortunate for Love there, and that the 3-1 survives, so Gudu doesn't even have to attack into that card, he can just kill it later. But it does leave the ability for Love to double Battle Rage, which maybe a little bit of oversight on Gudu's part. And he's going to play on that shield block. It's not going to overdraw. It's going to still remain at 9 cards. Excuse the lag for a bit. And Love's just going to sit here whacking away with his patron. His 3-1 patron. Say, you better kill it or else I'm going to kill you from 34 with my 3-1. It's a very, very angry... What card is the 3-1? Do those exist? Oh, the Shaman card. But that has Wind Fury, so I don't think that really counts. It's like a Scarlet Crusader without a Divine Shield. In any case, Gudu going to stay stubborn, not going to attack into that Grim Patron. And what does Love do with this? I guess he can just slam, look for an Execute. Not going to find the Execute. Just going to go with the Thorson. And so Gudu can get rid of the Thorson, but it also gets rid of his own Boombots, which actually are pretty annoying for Love to deal with. On the side of Love, he does have double War Song, Frothing. Okay, what can he play next turn? So he can go War Song, Unstable Ghoul, Frothing. That's 5 mana, which leaves him with 4 more mana. Obviously, that Inner Rage and Whirlwind are free. Then he can play another War Song, or he can play Unstable, or sorry, not Unstable. The Gnomish Inventor. Still not getting calls from Rapid. Okay, so in any case, alright, so I guess we should talk about the play from Gudu instead. Gonna go with that Grom. Gonna hit the face, and looks like, judging by that graphic, if Love picks up Frothing right now, he is lethal, and that's not Frothing. Well, yeah, it looks like he's just gonna go for it and see if it is enough. But judging by the Chinese graphic, I don't think he has enough. Just judging by the fact that the Chinese graphic felt the need to put that on the board. Maybe the Chinese graphic was wrong. Maybe we not getting enough credit, or not giving Love enough credit here. Let's see what happens. I don't think it's going to be enough though. 2 whirlwinds. That's going to be 15, and then 18, 19, 20. Yeah, going to be about 6 off. If I'm correct here. No, it already did the yeah, sorry. It already did the iteration from before. So not gonna be enough damage. He's gonna have to trade this guy into the Grom, or else he's dead on board, which always feels bad, man. And yep, there goes his combo. Did 0 damage to face, and yeah, he's got the Grom in hand, but it's unlikely to do anything. From Gudu's point of view, he's just gonna go with the looks like the Despite to guaranteed get rid of this really annoying Morsel Commander. From there, play the Sylvanas because he knows that his opponent has used a lot of resources into trying to go for that OTK, and it's like very, very unlikely that he has any way to set up another one. Finally gets the executes. Not very happy about drawing those now. Love is going to play this out. He knows that there's almost no way he's going to win this, but this match is obviously very, very important. So he's going to stick it out. Coming from Gudu, he's confident enough to just play a Sarah. Again, not going to die. There's absolutely no way. Already seen plenty of whirlwinds and everything. So, from Love, he can execute these guys. Oh, there's Reed. Hello, how's it going?
Welcome back. Came back just in time to see something I never thought I would see. That is the Grom into frothing Uber kill. That was pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Feels bad, man, when you try to go for the OTK and then you fail miserably, and then you have to run the frothing into the Grom.
And you're just like, wait, how much is this? I'm trying to count it up on my fingers. I don't have enough fingers. Just like, wow, it does feel quite bad, man. And now we have the Control Warrior in a very controlling position. 4 damage in his weapon on the field and 20 health versus 9 and the same weapon. So
Yes.
slightly different position.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little bit disappointed. I would like to see that the Drake played followed by the BGH to go for the BM, but looks like we're not going to see it. And
no, this is going to be a very sad death.
Good is going to take it with 3 anti-patron decks is what we saw there. Forgot to make that point earlier. That looks like what the strategy was coming from Gudu. Just say, I hate Patron. Anyone who plays Patron, I'm going to 3-0 that deck. This is Conquest, so you can lose with the same deck 3 times, and you can be out of there, which I think, that's what happened, right? He lost with Patron 3 times in a row.
That is true, yes. He kept trying for the Patron instead of switching to the other decks, and I mean, that's why the other decks are there, is to help you in difficult matchups, and I definitely think he had the potential to change that completely just by changing the deck, but refused to do it, and that's what you get.
Well, that's exactly how Gudu envisioned his deck lineup working. And, I mean, I guess even if you switch to Paladin, right, even if you pick up a win, you eventually have to switch back to the Patron. And maybe he felt like his luck was good this game and not next game with that Patron Warrior. In any case, strategy is a success for Gudu. Going to take it, going to move on. And he's 1 match away from moving on to Blizzcon. At the World Championships, so we'll see if he can indeed move on in a match, maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. We talked about this earlier. We're not quite sure when those decider matches will be played, but for now we are going to take a break, and we will be back with who are we going to be back with? We're going to be back with Miegod versus Weishing.
座熊熊燃烧着地狱之火的堡垒，一座埋葬反抗者灵魂的坟墓。一切反抗者，他们会反抗。我见识过他们的战斗力，他们无所谓。无论你招来多么邪恶的怪物，他们都会以坚定的决心反抗到底。他们会来的，他们会战斗，他们会用你的鲜血祭奠胜利。尽管挣扎吧，地狱咆哮，这后最终，我们都将效忠，燃烧军团。
All right, welcome back, everyone. We are going to be going into the second match of Group B, and that's going to be Miegod versus Weishing, as we've been calling him. What's the other name that he has on there?
The other name is you mean for Miegod or Weishing?
For Weishing, yeah. Miegod is also known as Godslayer.
Jihao.
Jihao. Okay, so the reason why, I mean, we're saying they have two names. They don't actually have two names. Their names are just really, really long, so we don't want to call them Jihao Weishing or Jihao something Weishing. So we're calling him one or the other. I guess we can call him Jihao. That's fine.
All right.
So from yesterday, if you're watching yesterday and you're wondering why is Weishing now Jihao, then there's your answer. In any case, he's going to be going against Miegod, and you can see Miegod on the stream there. Miegod has been through a lot in his Hearthstone career. He was one of the players in the China versus America Championship, we're going to call it, which saw players like Dog and Firebat to go against the Chinese team. And spoiler alert, America won. But Miegod was objectively one of the worst players for China. I casted some of those matches, and found them to be pretty bad, and so did the Chinese community. Actually, they laid into him pretty hard, and they were really critical of him. But since then, Miegod obviously qualified for this tournament. He also got to the finals of Week 3 of the Celestial Championship Series, and in this tournament so far, he has knocked out Chao Shen, one of the best players in China. And one other player who I'm not remembering correctly, but the point is he has stepped up his game recently, and kind of a I don't know, what do you want to call it, just an underdog, it's kind of a nice story, right? He's taking his flag, and on top of that, his one of his parents was in the hospital, I believe, and during the NA versus CN series. So yeah, just kind of coming from a really poor situation and really bringing it back.
Yeah, a lot on the line here as well. If you win this match for him, he goes into contention to be one of the players from China to represent his country at the Hearthstone World Championships. So he's had a lot going on. He's done, I guess, pretty well, but at the same time still has really yet to prove himself on an international level outside of that NA versus CN.
Yeah, and in his matches so far, I don't remember how he won his first match, but I don't remember who he won it against, but I remember how. It was an insane comeback from 0-2 down. I believe.
Yeah, the reverse sweep.
Yeah, I guess we can take a look at that. Who was that again? It was against Zhao? No, it was against Ace. It was against Ace.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And Ace, a rostered player on Tong Fu. So one of the players that might have actually done fairly well during the tournament lost in the lower bracket. That means all of those tournament wins, everything he's worked for, didn't matter anymore. And so Miegod managed to make his way all the way through the lower bracket to qualify for these group stages. Now we're going to see him face off against Jihao.
Yep, and Jihao made his way here by being one of the top 8 point getters in China. So he immediately went to the winners bracket, and from there he took out none other than Tiddler Celestial in our first match yesterday. So pretty big match here. Again, Miegod finds himself in the underdog spot. Too many gods here. Between Chaoshin and Miegod, but yeah, finds himself in that underdog situation against Jihao, and that's how he likes it. Though I think he likes being that underdog spot, I believe, because it's suited him well, and he's won in that spot.
That's true. So let's go ahead and get into our game. This is going to be our second match in this Group B. So we are going to go ahead and get into it. It's going to be a return of the warrior. This time it is patron warrior, not control warrior. And that's going to be going up against this more mid-rangey TGT beast version of hunter.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of interesting mid-range hunters here, and how they met. I think all of them have had a Ram Wrangler in their decks, but they've had different approaches to getting out that Ram Wrangler. And
also very different successes with the summoning of the minions that you get off of Ram Wrangler too.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as what we see in Jihao's deck here, he has the King's Elect. I do not believe we saw the King's Elect in the deck of Ice Fox. Ooh. Wins the joust, gets that Houndmaster. Now newbie Miegod knows for sure that there's a Houndmaster in the hand of Jihao there. Knows to play around it, but
yeah, and that's exactly how he does play around it. He goes ahead and slams it, which is a card discrepancy. The warrior or the hunter gets a card that the warrior has to use, so it's a little bit of an advantage there. But with the bow in hand, it's not really going to matter all that much. That does clear one of the whirlwinds out of the warrior deck, so if I'm the hunter, I'm actually feeling pretty good. We've gotten rid of a slam, an unstable ghoul, and just a tempo on board a little bit better for the hunter.
Yeah, a little bit. He gets to have kind of first play here. They both have weapons in hand, but it's a little bit scary for the hunter because you do need to kill the warrior as fast as possible before he gets those combo pieces. Not necessarily to kill you, but to put those patrons on board and make it pretty much impossible to come back. By the time the patrons hit the board, you better have already killed him, which doesn't make much sense, I suppose. You better kill him before he puts the patrons on the board, or he better be very, very close to death so you can kill him the very next turn, because you don't want to be using your removal on those patrons. It just puts you way back and gives the patron player even more time to do what he wants to do.
All right, well, that means that, going forward, we've got this web spinner. We've seen a lot of different ways of getting Gazrilla on the field. Getting it out of web spinner is one option. You can also get it off of Ram Wranglers. And I say Ram Wranglers plural because it can definitely happen twice in one game. So theoretically, you'd want to use that web spinner maybe to activate a Houndmaster next turn, because it's going to be a pretty sad Houndmaster with nothing to use for the near future. Yeah,
very interesting play by Miegod out here. Goes ahead and plays the Warsong Commander. And going to be countered by this... what's that card called again? The Hunter's Mark, I'm sorry. The longer you cast, the more you forget what cards' names are, guys. But in any case, gets kind of by the Hunter's Mark. A little bit of a gamble, saying that, well, if you can't deal with this, then maybe I can get out, a couple of patrons this coming turn. And really put on the pressure, but does not work out. And Jihao counters with that high main.
All right, well, high main out there, of course, it does die immediately, and unfortunately, those hyenas are not necessarily super great to have on the field.
Well, they are good now because he has the Houndmaster.
Oh, that's true, the Houndmaster. So
and you look, if you saw Miegod actually shook his head, and he's like, oh, that's right, he has Houndmaster in hand, and yeah, definitely a misplay on his part. All right, sorry for a little bit of lag again, guys. But yeah, newbie Miegod not happy with decision-making there. Not remembering the Houndmaster that was put in the hand by the King's Elect.
All right, well, that means that at least for right now, that King's Elect, a new TGT card, actually coming out to be pretty useful. And I'm experiencing the same lag on stream as well. So just going to see the patrons clear out the board and some more tempo coming down for the Hunter player.
Yeah, this is one of the ways that Hunter can win is if patron screws up. And I mean, that's being a little bit harsh on Miegod. I mean, he knew that the Hunters or the Houndmaster was in hand, but and more importantly, he did a couple of risky plays in a row. First going with the Warsong Commander into the Unstable Goal, and then playing out and getting only 2 patrons on a board that, you know, one of the hyenas on the board already dealt with one of the patrons. And all he needed was a quick shot or a kill command to deal with that. In that situation, you're perfectly fine using a kill command to deal with that situation because, oh, there's another Oasis Snapjaw. We were talking about that before.
All right, yeah. So Oasis Snapjaw, just for everybody who didn't catch the games yesterday, is a pretty bad card just normally. He's also going to have King of Beasts there. All right, go for it, man. It's going to get a little bit of value off of what... no, it's not going to get... It gets 1 Beast activation.
It's a 5-mana Twilight Guardian, or a Fen Creeper, but I like to call it a 5-mana Twilight Guardian.
Yeah, when you put that perspective into play, not quite as great.
Yeah, so the reason why this Oasis Snapjaw is in the deck is to activate those Ram Wranglers and maybe those Houndmasters to... it makes it extremely hard for your opponent, right? If you put something with 7 toughness on the board on turn 4, or even maybe turn 3 with the coin, the vast majority of decks cannot deal 7 damage on that turn. So, in any case, as we were referring to before, Miegod, a bit of shaky play here in this game 1, maybe a bit of nerves. Definitely don't want to be playing out your patron and only getting 2 out onto the field and making it pretty easy for your opponent to deal with it, since that's one of your win conditions in this matchup is you stall, you get the patrons out on the board, and your opponent can't deal with it. But opponent much more likely to deal with 1 patron in this case.
Yeah, and especially with patrons being pretty valuable, there's got to be whether there needs to be for Miegod some way to get those patrons not only out on the board, activated. He's got 14 health against the Hunter, who's probably looking to kill him next turn.
Yeah, Hunter's even got that Loatheb in hand. He could have lethal here, I haven't really counted, but even if he doesn't have lethal, he has the Loatheb, so it doesn't really matter. This game is going to end, and if not this turn, then the next turn.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Miegod knows that. He is desperately looking for something, if not anything, to just try to get himself back in there. Unfortunately, not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Jihao is just going to counter. He's going to attack first, and then if he needed to, he left himself some mana for the Loatheb just in case he needed to play it. But then he just started throwing things at face. Didn't even need to count. Just needed to look at the number on the face of the Hunter and said, "Okay, that's enough. Kill command."
And you can see Jihao kind of sitting around there. He's thinking to himself, all right, 1 game down, 2 more to go. And Miegod very disappointed with that game 1 loss.
Yeah, as well he should be, honestly. He forgot about the Handmaster, made a sketchy play regardless, kind of 2 turns in a row. And normally I'd be laying into him, but he has had some pretty good plays, had some pretty good results here at this tournament. So I got to give him the benefit of the doubt in this one. Just chalk it up to nerves here.
Yeah, I mean, lose 1 game to, maybe give a little bit of false hope there. And that means that with the Patron Warrior out of the way, it means we're going into a slightly different matchup. This is going to be completely different, actually. No more Hunter, no more... Well, I guess the Patron Warrior switched sides. And this time around, it's going to be Miegod playing a Ramp Druid. And that will be, of course, versus Jihao.
Yeah. Miegod still has the Patron Warrior that he has to win with, but decides to switch it up and go with the Druid. I actually don't like attacking in this spot as Druid. Normally, you're not typically 1 damage off lethal as Druid. I guess sometimes you are, but you're more likely to just give your opponent a way to battle rage. And as the Patron player, when I'm playing Patron in this situation, I'm pretty happy when the Druid attacks me here, because now I get to armor up all I want and not have to worry about ever not being able to battle rage.
All right, well, there's the Loatheb coming down on turn 3 What spell is that supposed to counter? I mean,
Well, it stops the coin Despite to be able to clear it right away.
I guess that
And
is true, but even then, you can clear it the next turn with the death rattle. It is going to be really good for clearing off armor smiths. And when you play both armor smiths and one gets silenced and the other gets killed, there goes your possibility of maybe coming back as far as your health total later on by getting a whirlwind on a bunch of patrons with an armor smith on the field.
yeah, definitely. And you can see Migod's strategy here is to definitely just get as much pressure as he possibly can on the board as fast as he can to, you know, do the kind of the zoo strategy where you just kill patron before they have a chance to respawn. And gonna get this Harrison out right on time. And I wouldn't put it past Miegod to have you know, calculate this out. He goes Innervate Loatheb, which means you can't coin Despite, which means you Despite on the next turn, which means you can right on time get that Harrison in. So it worked out for him there. And then we see the Battle Rage into the Fiery War Axe on the side of Jihao. Going to clear up the Harrison right away. But he is down at 18 health. Miegod has picked up that Innervate, which means he can go into Dr.
Oh,
Boom.
man.
Yeah, we're skipping a little bit, sorry. But, I mean, you guys saw the play eventually. But, yeah, so much pressure on the side of Miegod directed at Jihao here.
Yeah, I'm seeing different things, also experiencing a little bit of stream lag, so trying to figure out exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it lagged earlier, and then it suddenly jumped ahead to Miegod attacking the face. But are we gonna see a brawl here? I guess there's nothing you can do when you don't have an execute, right?
Well,
So-
there is an armor smith on the field, D2, so Kit Kats is...
Kit Kat not only lied, but he's a dirty liar, because that not only did he lose, but Dr. Boom is still on the
Instant
field.
concede. He's just out of there. Unlucky. And that is going to be
Never
well,
lucky, baby rage.
not quite the way you want to go out. So, you know, Miegod may be feeling a little bit better after that. Ties the series up at 1-1, and if any of our previous series have been a good indication, that means we're going to be setting up for what could possibly be a 5-game series, another 5-game series.
Yeah, definitely could be going that way. What? I'm already having amnesia. What was the last series? How did that end again?
The last series, if I'm not mistaken, was yet another 3-2, but I can definitely check that out. As far as our match history goes, to 3-1, where
I felt like
Love
it wasn't
lost.
Yeah, Love lost to. Oh my God, this is really bad. He lost to
definitely some amnesia. Love lost to Gudu.
Gudu. That's right. That's why I forgot his name, because we called him something different yesterday. We were calling him Chengbu yesterday.
Yeah,
Anyway.
there you go. But now Gudu.
Good. Now Gudu. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. You casted so many matches. I mean, I cast, or Raph and I casted 8 yesterday. We casted 4 today, and I casted 12 yesterday and 4 today. So yeah, sometimes you forget things, even the prior match. But yeah, we've had 3 matches go the distance, and one of them go 4 games. So wouldn't be surprised to see this one go that direction as well. And Miegod opening up with the classic Flame Imp into Voidwalker.
Yeah, I guess the actual classic is Imp into yet another one. So I guess you do get the Voidwalker here. Or not necessarily super great, because now Armor Smith gets maybe a little bit more value than it would have otherwise. But wow, not necessarily.
You can clear it off, I suppose. That's what Miegod is thinking about. Do I clear this off, or do I go 4 damage to face?
I think it's better to clear it off, just because it's such a good way to deal with early aggro, right?
Yeah, it's true. There's merits for both. He knows that there's no Fire Warlocks. That would have definitely been the play over the Armor Smith. If he does this, then he's vulnerable to Whirlwind, but getting Whirlwind out before his opponent can do something like Acolyte Whirlwind is nice as well. So yeah, I don't mind either play, but I can definitely see the merits for both. And Battle Rage is pretty interesting. Probably gonna get some value out of this, especially because he probably doesn't want to kill off his Flame Imp, although he might be forced to. Just kidding. Sorry, that was really stupid.
Yeah, I was like, well, there's an egg there, so probably just gonna go with the sure thing, hit up the egg, and get the Nerubian off of it.
Yeah, I was just looking at the board and not the hand. My bad. And that's definitely a much better play than than killing after your imp. This is going to put a lot of pressure on Jihao here, and he's one turn away from even being able to brawl if he had a brawl.
Man, yeah, then once again, that is if he had that option there. And, whirlwinding on an empty field, that's what feels bad, man, because you're just going to give away not only something that could get you so much more later on, but you're starting to feel a little bit of the pressure of getting so far behind early game.
Yeah, and he does end up clearing the board here, and gets an armor smith on the field, is able to contest this board. Ended up being, as bad as it looked, he cleared that pretty easily. He used a lot of cards to do it, but then again, he can just, in most cases, he can attack into this Void Walker and draw 2 more, so actually not looking too bad. Patron OP, guys.
I mean, we have seen Patron lose, but it lost in the Patron mirror, so I don't know what that says. But either way, a lot of good early game here from the Patron players, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen Patron lose, but it's typically, yeah, like you said, against the Patron or against matchups that were unfavored. We also saw it lose against Druid, but that's a pretty even matchup as well. So, yeah, typically the Patron has won in the matchups in which it's supposed to win. Yeah, actually, after that really super fast start for the zoo, suddenly the Patron's looking to be in a fantastic situation. Not going to play down that Thorson, which I'm a little bit surprised by. Maybe just wants to get some more combo pieces. But in a lot
of... And how many Whirlwinds are left in the deck? I mean, there are unstable ghouls, I suppose, but he's used a lot of those activations on enemy creatures.
Yeah, I mean, he has the Whirlwind in hand right now. He used one earlier, obviously. Probably has the unseeable ghouls, and has Deathbite. He hasn't used a Deathbite, has he? He hasn't even seen a Deathbite. So there is that. And in any case, Miegod fighting back, trying to get that board control back, and having a Void Caller on the board that can summon a Mal'Ganis is a pretty good situation, especially if that Flame Imp can get some work done as a 5/4. But there is the Brawl coming out from Jihao, and so even if he summons Mal'Ganis, then the Brawl could maybe take him out, and maybe that's what he's thinking about right now. He also has the Execute as well, so this Mal'Ganis is probably not going to do a whole lot. The Owl and Meegod's hand's not going to do a whole lot either. So
yeah, not a lot of options here. I mean, Mal'Ganis seems super great, but always against the Warrior. I mean, the reason Control Warrior exists is because you can get so much tempo back from just executing huge monsters. And there it goes, Mal'Ganis on the field into a brawl. We're about to see what comes out on top. Hopefully not Mal'Ganis, and no, Mal'Ganis dies instantly. Flame Imp.
Yeah, it looks like I'm maybe 2 or 3 seconds ahead of you, and so we saw the screen and the viewers saw a little bit ahead.
All right, well, I will go ahead and refresh my stream just to make sure.
All right, cool. Looks like we're gonna use a Whirlwind just to take out this Dr. Boom, but it does take out the Boom bots as well. And getting a Thorson on the board against nothing from your opponent feels good, man. Feels good. If you're Jihao, if you're Miegod,
yeah, Miegod not feeling good about this. He does have the ability to silence Thorson, which is of course what you want to go with here, and so definitely going to go ahead. Implosion.
Implosion to silence doesn't.
Well, what was that supposed to accomplish there?
It was supposed to get imps on the board. Is what it was supposed to accomplish, but
you're putting imps on the board into a player you know has whirlwinds.
Well, what are you gonna do?
That's a good point. There aren't really a ton of like super good options, so sometimes you just gotta go with the best option you got.
Yeah, especially because he's already seen a bunch of whirlwind effects, so maybe he doesn't have any, and maybe if he rolled 4 it would have been fine, but this is a really tough spot. Good attack here by Jihao. If you make it impossible for the guys on the board to clear this unstable goal, it just makes it really hard, because now he has to play this Dire Elf Alpha if he wants to be able to kill this unstable goal, and then the Dire Elf Alpha takes 1 damage. Or maybe something like Abuser Sergeant, the Abuser Sergeant dies. If you use something like, obviously using something like, for instance, Power Overwhelming, feels bad, man. So everything, yeah, he's just gonna give it up. But really nice attack there at the end. It seems like a small thing, but plays like that can win you games. And this game probably didn't matter, but over the long run, you make enough small plays like that, you're gonna win more games than not.
All right, well, newbie maybe losing their only player in this tournament. Miegod, you could see very unhappy, pensive face there, just waiting for what could be his last match of this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And Miegod against the ropes again. Let's see if he can bring it back like he has so many other matches so far. But going against a really tough opponent this time. Obviously, he beat Chaoshen before, but Chaoshen, honestly, he wasn't on top of his game, and he brought pretty subpar decks in my opinion. So, gonna be tough to 2-0 this Paladin from this point on, since Paladin has, as we've seen, been one of the stronger decks even against Patron Warrior.
All right, well, yeah, we're going to see Paladin come back. And is this secret Paladin? I don't believe so. I think this is just going to be our pretty standard. I was having problems with it cutting off at the bottom there, too, for a second. But all right, it looks like we're good. This does look like it's the more spammy Silverhand Recruit deck. And how do you feel this fares into Patron Warrior? Because I don't know, having a bunch of 1/1s on the field doesn't seem to be a super great strategy.
Yeah, well, we saw this deck do pretty well. We saw it take a win earlier by just putting a lot of pressure on the Patron Warrior and eventually getting the win. But in this case, Miegod gotten a pretty good start. This is super annoying to deal with for Jihao. Obviously, when you get double Musterford Battle and you see an Sable Goal, it doesn't really feel the best. He could do something like just coin into this Big Game Hunter. In fact, I think that's probably his best move. Obviously, it could get countered by something like a Fire RX, but unlikely to be in the hand of S1. Yeah, and he goes with it. Otherwise, the rest of your hand just gets absolutely annihilated by this Unsable Goal, and you do not want to be using your Inequality because that's one of the best options that you have against the Patron or against patrons, I should say.
Yeah, great way to get them off the field. And, I mean, really, what are you going to use the BGH on anyway? So, Murloc Knight, possibility for turn 4. Of course, Muster for Battle. I guess that's the thing coming down next.
Yeah, you have nothing else to do. It's either that or... I mean, if you
feels really bad, though, because, I mean, it just gives maximum value.
Yeah, but there wasn't a world in which you weren't going to give him maximum value. The only way you could...
Play nothing.
Yeah, you could play the Abusive Sergeant, or you could Equality. Those are your two options. You play naked Abusive Sergeant with no hero power, or you play Equality. So, Jihao says, "F that, screw it, just give him the cards. I'm gonna play stronger, do a stronger turn than that." And he is gonna get his opponent cards, which allows him to go into something like Despite potentially. But he does have that Murloc Knight the very next turn. So, I mean, obviously Murloc Knight dies to Despite as well, but. Yeah, he just wants to keep the pressure onto his opponent.
All right, well, pressure on patrons is definitely a good way to go because it keeps you from, or it keeps them rather, from being able to, build up a big handful of stuff that they want. However, Miegod has in fact built up a big handful of everything that he wants, with the exception of Frothing Berserkers. Don't see anything like that in there.
Yeah, and I'm consistently liking these plays by Jihao. Could have gone with the Murloc Knight, but he knows it's definitely possible that there's the Despite in hand, and not going to put anything on the board for Despite to get very, very good value, and even kind of baiting it out by making it seem like he has a Quartermaster in play, but not going for it. He might just see a hero power here, and no, I'm just gonna equip the True Silver. Make it really annoying for his opponent to, or make it so that his opponent doesn't get any value out of this Despite. And if he wants to, spawn patrons, then he's just gonna have to hit the face.
All right. Well, hovering the card, is he gonna let it drop?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember what the card was either.
Yeah, same. I was just like, he's hovering that card for a million years. Back in Mara Day.
Acolyte of
yeah,
Pain it was. Makes sense. He doesn't have a second activator for his patrons, and like we saw earlier, that really kind of screwed him over when he put only 2 patrons on the board. Yeah, he could go for the Acolyte. If he goes Acolyte into Battle Rage, I believe he overdraws. He has 9 cards in hand. Yeah, so you play the back Acolyte, immediately get the card back, and then if you Battle Rage, that's an issue. So it looks like he's reaching for the patron now. I don't like seeing this play again out of him, honestly. On the side of Jihao, how do you deal with this? So you could equality that deals with it, or you could just hit one
Right.
and consecrate, which is just as good because I feel like equality is a little bit more useful.
I mean, really, consecrate. You don't want to ever. You never really feel good just dropping it on one minion. But there are only two worlds in which you need to consecrate, and those are both versus patrons. So
Yeah, you're clearing out the first patron, and I mean, it feels good actually. Even if you're only using it on one minion, I think you just do it honestly, and it feels much worse if you use your equality, for instance, because equality will always be able to deal with the patrons, or with maybe some frothings or something. Yeah, so it looks like he's gonna go with that consecrate. Equality just a much more better answer, and you really want to use your worst answers if you can get away with it, then be forced to use your best answers early.
right, and so that equality coming down later will be able to take down as many patrons as get played, and so that leaves it up to the frothings really to win Miegod this game. And having not really drawn any, or I guess he has one in hand. So I guess Emperor, if it comes to the next couple turns, will be the ideal play for Miegod.
Yeah, Miegod does have the you're kind of referring to with the frothing and the war song and just combo pieces. So it definitely wants to get that Emperor soon-ish. And he set himself up pretty nicely here, getting cards out of that, a couple cards out of Acolyte. Could get the battle rage as well. I wonder if we see a second consecrate here. Maybe
So
not.
just looking up exactly what would happen based on the outcome of this match, because I'm still not sure exactly which games are getting broadcast today. But as far as this match is concerned, trying to figure out what these the next few plays. You want to deny as many cards as possible. But what are the options here? I mean, you definitely kill off the Acolyte there, and it looks like it is going to be Murloc Knight into some hero powers.
Yeah, I was wondering if he's going to use the consecrate. Oh, gets the blue kill warrior to kill that guy off. I was wondering if he was going to use the consecrate there, but maybe save the equality consecrate, save the combo to guarantee get rid of a huge board of patrons, or maybe even frothings if you have nothing else to deal with him. Picks up the Thorson. Does he go with it? Looks like he is going to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what other world you would play anything else out of hand. You could play like a mini combo, or maybe you could like drop some execute magic, but
You know what you
getting Thorson down.
You know what you could do is you could Thorson, enrage your own Thorson, and then battle rage to get 2 more cards, because you want as many things discounted as possible.
And you're pretty sure it's going to die next turn anyway, so there's not really too much. I guess maybe you want to save the Inner Rage for like your super huge burst combo later on.
But I think I'd rather get 2 cards out of my deck than just have the Inner Rage.
I guess maybe he's thinking later on I'm going to get value out of the Inner Rage anyway. And this seems like the weirdest of all of those plays, because now he's trying to save Thorson instead of just maximizing its usefulness to him.
Well, I mean, it is going to work, it looks like, unless we see Jihao use the equality here. So, again, a bit of a risk. Looks like Miegod's a big risk taker. Is saying, like, maybe he can't deal with this. And from the side of Jihao, he doesn't really have a great way. Oh, he's going to actually go for the equality. This tells me that he has another equality in his deck somewhere.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that if that was your only equality, because you know there's going to be a big combo coming off of the next turn after having that the Emperor down on the field.
Yeah, I guess you can't really get two discounts on the Emperor, especially because Miegod could potentially draw more cards, and then now you're getting even more cards that are discounted, plus the cards that are in his hand are getting double discounted. Yeah, doesn't feel good in that situation. I was thinking about like that one football commercial about the double check discount, but I'm blanking.
Oh
so
my god,
we're just gonna give up.
I feel like that's like the most obscure reference you could make.
We're just gonna give up while we're ahead. Anyway, on the side of Miegod, I mean, he has double war song. It's not really one to see though. Yeah, he has, and the double execute is really bad too. Because unless you see something that you really want to execute, if for instance, Jihao just plays a bunch of mid-range minions, you could really pressure Miegod to and force him to use those executes. You can see Jihao kind of hovering over both cards, or both decks, to see how many cards are left. Yeah, I guess he's just gonna play the Tyrion here. I mean, everything else is really weak. But I think Jihao's thinking about how he could potentially die to some sort of Uber combo. How many whirlwinds have we seen actually?
I've seen, let's see, or whirlwinds or whirlwind effects. Let's go with that. We've seen
right off the bat. We
one,
saw the unstable ghoul.
yeah. So you had unstable ghoul. You had, I guess, inner rage kind of that is a little bit of an activator. He still has both actual whirlwinds in his deck.
Oh, this brawl, this YOLO brawl, and the Tyrion survives, and Miegod is
Wow.
not happy. Oh my
Wow, man,
goodness.
he is visibly sad. He's like frowning. That's the next big Twitch emote. There is,
Wow, and right
God,
after the
frown.
brawl, he gets the Muster for Battle Quartermaster. Oh
Are you
my!
kidding me? With the extra hero power in there. Like, let's not forget that. That is, oh my God, this is, what a way to go. This isn't just saying, I win the game. This is saying, get out of here. This is my tournament. Miegod, what?
Yeah,
Wow.
The one thing, if he had
Second
the cards,
brawl.
Miegod could do would be obviously Jihao's board is huge now, so he could maybe go for some like reverse combo sort of, which it looks like he's trying to do right now. But he has no whirlwind, and whirlwind is absolutely essential if you're gonna.
Where's
try
that
to go for
echoing
this.
shout right now?
A commanding shout, yeah, the one
Commanding
where
shout,
yeah,
there we go.
yeah, but you don't even have enough room on the board for all your patients to clear the board because you have to run into Tyrion 3 times. Anyway, that's gonna do it. Jia's gonna take the game. Miegod's going to drop to the losers bracket of Group B, and yeah, I mean Jihao, he took out Tiddler, but Tiddler was definitely off his game, so it wasn't. I mean, we saw definitely a lot of solid plays out of Jihao that game, but I mean, definitely proving himself every match along the way that he is a force to be reckoned with.
All right, well, there you go. That is the end. I was really expecting a lot more out of Miegod. I mean, we've seen him do relatively well before. He's one of our players that we've seen previously in other tournaments, which is maybe a little bit of a rarity for this specific tournament because the Chinese scene, outside of CN versus NA, don't get a lot of exposure other than guys, like Tiddler Celestial that we've seen in a bunch of different tournaments. So it's actually pretty exciting to see some big new names come up, and equally, I guess, exciting to see guys like newbies Miegod fall out, and that means with a loss there, we'll see what that means for Group B.
All right, are they going to put the graphic up, or should we?
I would hope that they would put the graphic up because that'll tell us exactly what they're going to do next. Because we're not sure exactly how many matches are going to be broadcast here today.
Huh. Well, it looks like they're going to commercial. For some reason, I think every time we see the woman, it means they're going to commercial. I don't know if that's the case. In any case, we can show you Group B. I guess I'll just go ahead and refresh here. Okay, so there you have it. We have right here that was Gudu defeating or winning 3-1 against Love, and the match we just saw was Jihao right here against Miegod or Godslayer. And he took that 3-1, I believe.
Yes, he did.
3-1. So all 3 2s in Group A. Looks like we're going for all 3 1s in Group B. But yeah, so far that's how it's shaking out. And if we follow the same pattern of Group A, we're going to be looking at the losers match, or the losers bracket of Group B, which would be Miegod versus Love. One of those players going to get their dreams crushed. Do not go away.
那个侏儒想对那只羊做什么？
难道他是想要吃烤羊排？
哎，它变了，
变成了一只松鼠？
居然是松鼠啊！
它还好吧？
被食人魔踩在脚下，感觉真棒。手机搓炉石，
免费拿卡包。
接下来登场的是吵吵机器人，他看起来对每个人都很友好。
他举着2个大喇叭，不停的在说你好，你好，你好。
哦，他的对手可不这么友好。
哦，他看起来已经不行了。
啊哈，他又去跟观众说你好了。手机搓炉石，
免费拿卡包。
炉石传说黄金公开赛福州站，全新赛制，福气爆棚，谁将是福星传说？是他，是他，是他，还是他？
我是。
这些都是浮云，看看什么叫幸福。
我已经成为了尸体。
发动防御吗？
保送我的水友晋级吧，爱陈潇，怪我咯！
恭喜爱陈潇，怪我了，获得了福州站的冠军。
上次的比赛里面，你的水友是夺冠了是吧？
这位，补
啊，你好，你好，你好。
水友。
跟我男朋友一起过来的。
你们在一起有多少年了？
比他跟老毕在一起久一些吧。
是吧？这么多年了。
解说晒幸福。
不是你愿意嫁给我吗？
我愿意。
主持得奖状。
龙哥，跟我一起来做电竞吧。
好。
首先谢谢国家啊，然后其次谢谢暴雪爸爸和网易妈妈对我这12年来的一个肯定。如果你想选择一款游戏来陪伴你12年甚至更多，那么我认真向你们推荐暴雪游戏，它代表的是我们的青春年华。欢迎你们加入我们暴雪狗的行列。
我做一张卡，类似于时光龙的，对手的回合每回合只有10张。
一张叫后悔药的卡牌，撤销我刚刚打错的某一步。
5费5杠5，站好让对方随机丢弃一张手牌。
1费，然后1杠1，然后下一张圣盾就加1加1。
3费的牌，那落场之后可以出一张任意一张牌。
就2费4，无法攻击，然后无法被沉默，然后磨灭。
1费，然后。那个当加30的血。
这是一个随从，他叫下个 ID 键啊，出来对方就挂了，挂了。
以上是我们这次新卡片的提案，拒绝。
这不是废话吗？话吗？
替补玩逆袭。
直接死了，直接
激活就死了，激活双咆哮，恭喜爱陈翔。
本身是来玩的，和朋友一起来这边逛一逛福州，顺便打一打比赛。我是从七股打上来的。
人生没有替补，只要你敢来，你就是先发。还在等什么？够努力就会有福气。
到这里就结束了。下半年的第一场比赛将于9月在天津拉开帷幕。
辛苦咆哮，哎，直接干着跳了，大沉默怎么带走？差一丝，死了！三个无敌了！喊一声，还有谁？是很漂亮，快跑！
恭喜一下菲尔版的暴雪真的华第2届炉石锦标赛的一个世界冠军。
Alright guys, hello and welcome back to day 2 of the Chinese Championships. We are in the middle of Group B. We've seen 2 players win their first match there in Group B, and 2 players lose their first match, obviously, since we've had 2 matches go down. And during the last match, we actually did get a host from none other than Dear Nadia. Unfortunately, it wasn't for that many viewers, so probably wasn't streaming before then, but we do appreciate all the support, thanks to her. What have you thought about so far these matches as you see the graphic on screen?
Fairly disappointed, at least in some of the maybe deck choices, and then actually fairly impressed in some of the other ones. We saw a very good reaction to Patron Warrior in bringing things like Control Warrior and many other decks there. I believe that was one of the big things that I saw today that I hadn't seen in other tournaments. It's like, hey, you're going to play Patron Warrior, you're going to be stubborn about playing it, I'm just going to run counter decks into it, and it worked every single time. But that's going to take care of our first 2 matches in Group B. That means that maybe this may be the last best of 5 that we get a chance to broadcast here today, depending on how they want to do the tournament, with the losers match coming up between newbies Miegod and Love.
Yeah, we're actually not sure how these matches are going to go. I tried to go over to the official Blizzard site that had the announcement for this tournament, and unfortunately it was all Chinese to me, literally. And so we have this, we have now Miegod versus Love, and 2 players I would say that have been pretty disappointing so far, at least today. They've both gotten beaten pretty bad in their first match of the day today, 3-1. So let's see who can bounce back, and it might be a matter of who can just, you know, control the nerves a little bit better and just not play poorly. Could be that case.
All right, well, there we go. We are going to go ahead and start, or at least start looking at our 2 players. None of the players changed their decks between their matches today, so we're going to see the exact same decks that we saw from Miegod and, of course, Love earlier on. It does look like this is going to be his Patron Warrior into what I believe was a Handlock from Love. I haven't seen the Mulligan yet, and it is going to be, well, at least there's the Mal'Ganis in it.
Yeah, it's going to be the Zoo with seeing that Direwolf Alpha and the Rubine Egg in there. So, going to be a Zoo against a Patron Warrior. We've seen this matchup countless times over the course of this tournament, and I believe Patron has come out on top a pretty high majority of the time.
Yeah, it really just depends on Void Callers. If those get crazy things down on the board, like double Doom Guards, like Mal'Ganis, then it can definitely swing out of control in the Zoo's favor. And if, and we've seen this a couple of times as well, if you get too far ahead on the board early, then while Patron's looking for either Thorson to ramp up the combo, things just never get going and they just die.
Yeah, I think we've seen Zoo only win once, if I'm not mistaken, and that was by zooing them down. No pun intended. Just getting a bunch of guys on the board and not worrying about getting these huge Mal'Ganis turns, and just like I think the Patron died on turn 5 or 6 or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it was turn 5. It was just really, really fast game.
Yeah, exactly, and that's definitely one of the ways for Zoo to win. The other way is a little bit more difficult. Obviously, if you can, completely flood the board and kill them before they can respawn, that you should do that. But you don't always get that perfect start by the by the Zoo. So a lot of times you're kind of forced to do the other win condition, which is to get a bunch of big guys out in the field that Patron cannot deal with at the same time. But easier said than done. Sometimes those Patrons just take out the big guys themselves. Anyway, so as far as this game goes so far,
Mike was mute.
Oh, it was muted? Okay. All right. So, as we go into this match, we see something that Miegod likes to do a lot. He's at almost every single match in which he's had the ability to play Unseeable Golden 2, he's done it. And it's worked out some games for him, and sometimes it's been kind of mediocre.
All right. Well, as far as starts go, this is not necessarily a mediocre start for Love either, because he's going to get a bunch of minions on the board. If he draws into Void Terror at any point, this is still going to work out really well. The spider pops, but nobody really cares about that because it makes the egg more likely to pop as well, and it pops into 2/1/1s. Now that's actually good for this Acolyte, but at the same time, having a big board to go against as a Patron Warrior, not super great early on.
This feels like deja vu. Knife Juggler into power whelming the egg into an Acolyte pain. Yeah. Except in that match, it was actually Miegod playing the Zoo in that matchup, and he had 3/1 Flame Up on the board. Because I remember talking about the Flame Up. In any case, we don't have a board clear in that game like we did from Jihao. And just going to play out this Armor Smith on the field. Makes a lot of sense because if the Nerubian runs into that, then it just dies to the Fiery War Axe.
All right, well, sounds good, at least on paper, and the Nerubian does run into that. But at the same time, you're still taking a ton of early game damage to face. And while Void Caller may not have anything to call in exactly right now, he's still going to be a threat there later on, as you never know what you might be putting out onto the board. It feels terrible every single time.
Yeah, we see, and I mean, it's a 3/4, it's hard to deal with, right? And actually, we do see the exit come in hand. I was wondering if maybe Miegod would go out of his way to kill that Void Caller just to make sure that nothing came out, or make sure it came out this turn while he got executed, but not going to be the case. And picks up the Doom Guard. Very, very nice draw. One thing I was about to maybe kind of mention was that the Dr. Boom has been in the hand for Love the entire time. Could be like a Mal'Ganis, could be something that Miegod was thinking about, but double execute. Gonna help him out here. That said, he is facing a lot of pressure on the board from little minions, so maybe not so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, executing, like, there are only a few minions you really want to execute. Things like, Dr. Booms, Doom Guards, those feel good. But when it's just, 1, 2 health minions, or 1 or 2 health minions on the board, it's like, oh, I guess executing kind of a desperation move there. And with a Doom Guard in hand, a Void Caller is gonna get a lot of value.
Yeah, although we are coming up on turn 7 with the coin, so turn 8, and we haven't actually gotten to see this at all this tournament. I don't believe the Patron going into the possibility of having Warsong Patron, and well, is he gonna go for it? Because if he doesn't, obviously he's not gonna have the mana for execute. But he needs to get rid of this board, so I believe he has to go for the Warsong Patron play and just hope he gets lucky Boombots where his patrons can propagate even further. And then he can use that Inner Rage to both clear off the Doomguard and... Or probably just the Dr. Boom, actually. Probably just kill the Dr. Boom and hope you don't die to Doomguard. Yeah,
all right, well...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, the hopes for the Patron player right now reside in just staying alive, not necessarily finding a win anytime soon. I mean, I guess theoretically, the bigger the enemy's board gets, the more likely you can run into, OTK possibilities, but for now, double executes are going to keep him alive for possibly one more turn.
Yeah, I guess I do like this play a little bit better by Miegod than the one I proposed, because this is a little bit more likely for you to win in the long run. Not likely that the boombots are going to help you perfectly set up your patience for clearing the board, whereas this one all you have to do is survive for one turn, and oh, is that going to be it?
No, he was one off.
He's one off, so 2, 4.
Oh, well, just kidding. 4 to the face is a good way to win games. Boombot for the win.
Yep, it came down to a 50-50 there since he was one off. Although, actually, no, it was, he only had to get 2. Wait, hold on. Yeah, he only get two because the Dire Wolf Alpha then buffs the next Boombot. So he only had, yeah, he actually had a 3/4 chance of winning in that scenario. So, yep.
I was trying to do that math, but that's why we have you here.
I'm pretty sure, right? Because he had the he was at 8, he was at 7. And then, or he had 6 and, sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had 5 on the board, and it buffs to 7, which means that if he took 2 off of his board, then it goes to 5. But then he adds 1 from the Dire Wolf, so it goes, yeah, he only had to hit 2. Anyway, whatever. What was that? Was that a Doomsayer? What was that on the side of Miegod? Anyway, whatever. I guess we'll see it later. It was a red card. I've seen Doomsayer in mid-range Drew before from the Chinese players, and it's completely.
I'm pretty sure it was Ancient of Lore.
There wasn't Ancient of Lore to the right of it. Maybe it was the second Ancient of Lore. In any case, we see another classic matchup, that being the Druid versus the Patron Warrior. It's gone both ways in this tournament. I think it's gone more towards the Druid.
That's true. Yeah, Druids come out on top, but that's also because we've seen guys like Zoro who are super good at Druids. So not necessarily directly, 1-for-1 relatable, but still overall probably the better deck to have, at least in the context of this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And very, very nice to get Wild Growth into Shredder. Okay, it was the Pyromancer. Okay, that's the card that it was. I was like,
oh, okay, there we go. Yeah. So we've actually seen Pyromancers be pretty bad. If you have one on the field and you try to do your combo, it doesn't work. Yeah, because everything dies.
I was gonna say it's a super combo. You play the Pyromancer and then you combo and then you kill your own Treants and then you
concede. Exactly. So, or at least that's the play I saw on the front page of Reddit yesterday. So
yeah,
not quite what you want to go for. The tempo, Harrison, has been what we've seen for the majority of this tournament. This time around, it gets a little bit of value. So we're going to go ahead, pop that Death Spite, and while sure it does make that Acolyte give full value, actually, when I think about it, I'm pretty sure the Patron Warrior is pretty happy about that because he gets 3 extra cards instead of getting to hit for 4.
Well, I mean, what newbie Miegod was thinking there is if Love has both Patron and Enrage, then Miegod just loses the game.
No, that is true. Yeah. So, unfortunately for him, Love does in fact have just about everything he can want.
Yeah, so that was thinking by Miegod. He could have actually coined to deny one of the cards. He could have coined to make the mana addict grow, kill the Acolyte, and then play the Harrison. But I guess he's valuing the coin a little bit more than that, and that's a big draw. Getting that Thorson.
All right, well, Thorson on the board, I guess on both sides is what's going to come down there. And I don't know, who's the Thorson better for? It feels like it's much better for the Patron Warrior. He's got a larger hand, and you can use those lower costs much more effectively.
Yeah, it helps the Patron a little bit more as far as this turn, but Miegod's a way to kill it on the board with that Harrison. So getting 2 discounts for the Druid may be better than getting 1 discount for the Patron, even if it's an entire hand full of cards. Gonna go with this play with the kind of a Temple Keeper a bit with the Wrath, but I guess either one was fine. But yeah, Shredder Belcher is just so good. I mean, you're still getting a lot of pressure on the board. You're missing 5 damage this turn, but I mean, you can always keep with a face regardless. So as good as the Thorson was for Love, he's going to have to use that Thorson discount right now to get back in this board, or else he's more or less dead.
All right, yeah, more or less dead. I think starting to become more and more dead as the game draws on. Nice to see the taunt wall starting to get set up. Problem is, like you said, that as the game draws on, the one turn kill potential continues to rise. What does he have in his hand that contributes to that? I didn't see a Warsong command. Oh yeah, there is one. Okay, so there is a War Song Commander in hand. What else is there? Sorry, I'm starting to hit a little bit of lag.
Yeah, he's going for the War Song patron into Cruel Taskmaster play, which will help him clear most of this board. If he gets a 2-3 off of this Shredder, it would be pretty huge. Oh, he's just going to go for the safe play. Interesting. He could have hit the... actually, no, he couldn't have. My mistake. He couldn't have hit the Shredder and got another one. So, yeah, a bit of a sad play from the side of Love. Just kind of clearing the board, but not really getting all that much done. And if he had something like Iterate, it would have been a much better turn. Whirlwind as well. But, yeah, unable to make much happen there. And he was feeling the pressure, so he felt like he had to, get rid of his opponent's board as fast as possible. I do agree with this Wrath by Miegod. I mean, obviously he's seen one set of patrons go out, and basically 0 mana doing 4 damage to the face is kind of worth it. Is what that amounts to, because you're clearing that War Song, making your Shredder harder to kill, and you're being able to push that damage to the face. Let's see. So on the side of Miegod, even though I know it's Love's turn, side of Miegod, he does have 9, 11, and then plus 8 damage, or 9 damage. So it would be lethal with the Savage Roar if Love doesn't armor up here.
It doesn't really get a good Shredder drop either. I guess 2/2 fairly average. As far as Shredder minions, so I guess it's not necessarily going to change, the way drastically that this works, but you are going to start to see, 10 mana come up pretty quickly, and that's when you start to lose a whole lot faster. No War Songs in the hand anymore.
Yeah, that's going to be game. I was going to say, sorry. So this is the problem with killing off the Shredder, is that you take the 4 damage, but you get the next minion charge as well, so you're actually taking more damage over the long run, and a little bit of greedy play by Love, and he gets punished. And game 2 is going to go to the side of Miegod.
All right, yeah, so Miegod finally finding some success after what was an overall pretty disappointing last series. This is sort of do or die right now here as well, and they are tied at 1-1. So Miegod coming back in the set, but as with most of the series tonight that we've seen go 1-1, the possibilities for the 3-2 definitely still out there, and we've seen a lot of games go all the way to that final set.
Well, we know that past events predict future events perfectly, so we know that since all the games in Group B have gone 3-1, this is absolutely 100%. No doubt about it going 3-1 as well, isn't that right?
I guess I suppose so. So at least for right,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but since it's a day of patterns, right? We saw 3-2s all Group A, and I mean, it would only be fitting if all Group B went the same score as well. But we are seeing the patron versus patron. This is a very interesting matchup. Typically, it goes to the player who gets their patrons out in turn 5.
Yeah, I was going to say patron versus patron, all about whoever gets them out first, and Deathspite, a big part of that. So both players with that in hand. So turn 4, you want to be able to play Deathspite, then turn 5, you want to be able to drop a patron, and then get the Deathspite Whirlwind, and then most likely one other Whirlwind effect as well. And the only player with that second Whirlwind effect is actually Miegod, so he's got that. All he needs right now is the patron to follow it up.
Well, Love, on the other hand, does have that inner rage, so that's something that you can use
that is true.
To enable the first patron, and then from there you can use the Whirlwind from your Deathspite to propagate that patron into 4 patrons. Sorry for the lag, guys. Looks like we're stuck at 67%. Alright, so he's going to coin that Deathspite out, make sure this Acolyte only draws 1 card, kill it off, and as we skip forward, we're going to skipping forward through the lag. Oh, jeez, okay. Really sorry about that. Are you experiencing lag as well? Or
I was, but I unlagged just in time to see the patron come into hand, and this looked pretty good for Miegod, because he's going to be able to drop the patron and then double Whirlwind.
Yeah, well, not for another couple.
Oh, a single Whirlwind, yeah. Right.
Yeah, but they've been doing very interesting things, jumping back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, I'm still trying to catch up with it and find exactly where we are.
Yeah, on my screen we see the Acolyte getting inner raise right now, and no swing from the Deathspite, going to Miegod's turn, picks up the Cool Taskmaster. All right.
Okay, so do you drop patron here, even though you only get another patron out there, which is, I guess, fairly clearable given what's on board?
Yeah, it's not something you do here. It'd be a huge risk. You see the opponent with the Deathspite in hand, All he needs is a slam or an execute, or worst case scenario, you go you can go excuse me, Warsong Commander into Cruel Taskmaster and kill it or something. So there are plenty of options. He's gonna go for it. It looks like he's reaching for it. A little bit of impatience on the side of Miegod, I feel like. He doesn't want to see his opponent propagate his own patron, so he's gonna go for himself. But this is not going to be the right play. This execute on the side of Love is going to make quick work of that 3-2, and then he's going to be able to clear these no problem.
Yeah, and that gets rid of one patron there on the board and a whirlwind effect from Deathbite. Deathbite is often one of the best ways to activate your patrons because you get it for free. It's just out there. You get to swing your minion, and we said earlier about the first player to get the patrons down is usually the one that wins because it puts pressure against your opponent's whirlwinds, and it doesn't work if you only have 2 and they're easily clearable like that. So
yeah, that's the caveat. You need actually to get the 4 on. Miegod does pick up the Thorzen here and does play it out. He does actually have a lot of combo pieces in hand, so if ever Love propagates his own patrons, Miegod might be able to win the game. He's actually fist pumping here. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that a little bit. I'm confused. We saw a guy named No Tomorrow who played here as well. Gets super excited when seemingly inconsequential things would happen. I'm just like, okay, I don't think anything big's about to happen. But he was pretty excited.
He does, to his credit, I don't know how we should call this, but he does have, many pieces of the combo. He has that unstable goal. He's gonna execute that. That should set off alarm bells, ringing in Love's head right now. If you're willing to execute an Armor Smith, that means he's got plenty of OTK pieces. But yeah, for just the low price of 6 mana, you get to have 2 whirlwind effects and and you have your Cruel Taskmaster as well. Looks like, going off that graphic there, the chance of Miegod drawing the Frothing Berserker on the next card are 5.3%, but I don't think that matters. They can just kill with this 1. I don't know about this turn, but if ever Love puts a bunch of minions onto the board, he can just kill. If Miegod goes for this, he better know that it's lethal, by the way. You do not want to be seeing something like what Love did earlier.
Yeah, we saw that from Love, where he's like, let me just calculate this. Oh.
Yeah, well, in that situation, if he didn't do it that turn, maybe he would never be able to do it. Because he was under a lot of pressure, but Miegod under almost no pressure in this situation, so there's no real reason to okay, if he hasn't even calculated where to put this Cruel Task, then
yeah, that is skeptical. I mean, at some point you can be like, oh wow, there's a lot of minions on the board, I should totally win right now, but double whirlwind, yeah, that's gonna do it.
All right, so 3 plus 6 plus 6 plus 5, yeah, okay, gonna be plenty.
All right. What is that? Is that 14? Okay, so yeah, no, it was 17. Okay, I was right the first time. Not gonna second guess myself. And there you go.
Oh, yeah, exactly. sorry, kind of.
I think I was like a minute ahead.
Yeah, no, I was no. I was a little bit.
A second ahead.
I was just mesmerized by that play. I always love a good patron lethal. I know it's on Reddit all the time. Like, oh my god, I got lethal from 1,000 health. Patron, please nerf. But I don't know. I always enjoy a good patron lethal.
A good old patron lethal. I do not enjoy patron lethal because usually they are coming against me, and
well, it did kill a patron, if that's any consolation.
That is true. I guess. Yeah. Well, we've seen that several times today. It's like, well, what beats patron? Hard counter decks and patron decks. So. At least for right now, we are going to see that patron win that takes at least one patron out of the game and sends us into our next game between what looks to be a Ramp Druid and another one of those Demon Zoo-esque Warlocks.
Nope, it's going to be Paladin.
What did I say?
I said
Druid. I said Druid.
Yeah. I saw a little bit of that Silverhand recruit button there.
The screen is super dark for me, so I can't actually see that, but I should have looked over and seen the icon next to his name. Yeah. That's what happens when you cast, I think this is our 9th best of 5 tonight?
We haven't done that many. This is actually our 6th.
7th.
Sure?
I'm pretty sure it's 7th.
No, because we did the winners.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, 6th. Let's get a little bit ahead of myself.
All right, so knife juggler and knife juggler action. Probably just gonna see the egg for the half damage. Does it go to the face? Nope. Misses the half damage, only gets 0. Or misses the 1 damage, I should say. And yeah, this is actually usually a slightly favored matchup for Paladin. Because what you can do is you have things like Muster for Battle to combat the board. And Zoo has a hard time getting things rolling. But this is a very nice situation for Miegod. I guess I get a 3/5 and a 4/4 on turn 3. Turn. Did I say turn 3? Yeah, I said turn 3. One of the strongest plays you can actually make. You don't get a bunch of damage on the Paladin by this point, but really a scary situation to deal with. And gonna be responded to by equality, which probably appropriate in this situation. Wasn't any other way to really deal with this.
Yeah, and you really can't let the Zoo get out of control super early. I was actually really hoping that this was the secret Paladin, but it is going to be all about spamming out those Silver Hand recruits. And nice to see Void Terrors not be very useful. I absolutely, I really hate dealing with Void Terrors because it's so easy to get so much momentum early on by getting those big death rattle effects, whether it's Nerubian eggs into Nerubians or those big Void Collar effects. Although Void Collar effect right now would actually be pretty significant given that Mal'Ganis is the only demon in hand.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, this Mal'Ganis is not going to be too threatening because we have the Big Game Hunter in hand. But Love doesn't know that's a Mal'Ganis. He might be thinking it's a Doomguard. The funny thing, just to go back a few turns, one of the most interesting things you'll see is no ability to play the tempo. Sorry, follow the rules. Outer Peacekeeper. No ability to play tempo Outer Peacekeeper because it would have buffed the Nerubian egg. Not a good place to be in. Anyway, I digress. We're gonna see this. Excuse me. Void Collar go into it. Gonna allow him to steal one of the 1/1s. Pretty good turn, but that guy's gonna get immediately BGH. And what's the follow-up play after this BGH is the question.
Well, at least for okay, so BGH drops, and then you've got 4 mana. I guess it kind of feels bad to just drop the Muster for Battle. So I guess it's gonna be Minibot Hero Power.
Yeah, Minibot Hero Power puts a similar amount of power on the board as something like a Muster for Battle. Only problem is you don't get that Last Justice, but not useful here. Unfortunately, that Imp got healed back up after it killed the Doom by Mal'Ganis. So, yeah, unfortunately.
That's a weird interaction. It's a little bit like when you get, what is it, True Silver, no, it's Stormwind Champion out there.
Yeah, it used to be the case. It used to be the case for, oh my god, I'm forgetting cards left and right. The 4/4/5 mana minion that gets big. The Frostwolf Grunt. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The card text on that used to be that it changed with the number of minions on the board, so you could actually make it bigger after it hit the field, and then you could just like heal it back up by putting minions on the board, and yeah, it was really an interesting situation. Anyway, we have this huge combo coming out of Love with the Muster for Battle and the Quartermaster, and lucky for him, even though the Dr. Boom's on the board, he has the time to make this work. And pretty even board state, which favors the Paladin in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Boom is still going to be fairly difficult to deal with, but of course there are Peacekeepers out there that are going to take care of that. And I mean, you still get the value of 7 damage to face.
If he goes to face. Look, I mean, yeah, you just go face here. You're already seeing the quality. And if you wanna, clear up this Honda Creeper before you consecrate, for instance, then you're gonna get 2 more knives somewhere. So. Makes a lot of sense. Gonna go with this Tuskar Jouster. Are we gonna win the joust?
And yes, that is a joust win. So gonna get crucially a little bit higher up there in the health totals. It was getting a little bit scary, especially with Dr. Boom on the field, but it just undoes that last Dr. Boom hit. Keeps him alive for at least 1 more turn.
Robbie, you want to know a secret?
What's the secret?
Do you know why that Tuskar Jouster won?
Why?
It's golden, obviously.
Oh, that's true. It is worth more.
Yeah, I mean, golden Tuskar Jousters always win the joust, just like golden Atpego always used to draw cards.
But is it worth being a role player and including golden cards in your deck? So you win the game, but then you lose real life.
I guess that could be true. This is actually a pretty good draw coming from Miegod, because now you can be useful with your, or do useful things with your Dr. Boom, whether it be hitting this 5/5 or going to face, rather than running to a 4/1, which definitely feels bad, man.
Yeah, what's the best way to go? I still feel like face is pretty good. 11 health is kill potential in so many ways, like a top deck. Good Doom Guards, tons of stuff to win the game here.
Yep, I agree. Face is the place, but there is that lay on hands, which is going to shut down that aggression a bit. Although it does cost Love a turn, but Miegod also doesn't have any cards in hand, so he's not going to be able to do anything too amazing this coming turn. Even if you tap into 2 cards, that leaves you only 8 mana to play both of them. So probably going to see the Zombie Chow here over the Hero Power. Nothing like the Quartermaster to help buff that up. So yeah, right back up in health with a bunch of cards is Love. Definitely has the advantage here. What can Miegod pick up? Oh, that's a Doom Guard. That's the best card in this
I was gonna say, yeah, Doom Guard, definitely one of the big options. He gets to play it for free, taps for a Flame Imp. That's going down because he has such a high life total, and all of a sudden start to really wonder where that Consecrate is.
Yeah, where is that Consecrate? Did he forget to put it in the deck?
I mean, there's 2 of them in there, and he's halfway through his deck already. I think we're 14 cards in. What a time to be alive here, needing the Consecrate to stay in this game, but still has not found it.
He does have the Aldor plus the Sludge Belcher, so that's a reasonable situation to be in. He could also just choose Silver, I suppose, but if you choose Silver, then your remaining 3 mana goes into a muster for a battle. So yeah, just go ahead and put that Sludge Belcher on the table, clear one of the 1/1s, play your own 1/1, and Miegod, what's he gonna do here? If he theoretically picks up, ooh, there's an Ooze, which is not very good.
That's actually really good. Well, I mean, it's good card, but yeah, like you said, not super great timing.
Yeah, he wants to get. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I mean, he needs to get this on the field to get the tempo, but he's going to be met with a True Silver, and
oh man, that's what feels bad.
Yes, Acidic Swamp Ooze does not like to be killed by weapons. I will tell you that.
No, it's supposed to be the other way around. Unfortunately, I mean, to be fair, you have to look at what Miegod was thinking about there. He's like, all right, I know he's got True Silvers, hasn't played any, very likely, but I just need a minion on the field. However, I still think it might have been better to hold on to that.
I'm gonna have to say he was actually correct there. I mean, he had 3 power on the board. I mean, and actually, you're not even gonna see a True Silver right now. You're just gonna see the Light's Justice because he is that far ahead. He wants to get that Dr. Boom on the field. Although he dies to Power Overwhelming Doomguard right now, so again, I do like to see players go for the 100% win. To be honest.
All right, a little more damage coming out here. This is going to be the 3 damage to face the mini Doomguard. Not necessarily something that is going to win in the game, but it does get him closer. And like you said, Power Overwhelming, as long as there's something that sticks, is going to be the win condition.
Yeah, but from this point on, Love is going to be clearing this board. I wish Miegod would take his cursor off of the opponent.
The hero power, yeah.
But yeah, it's not a client, or it's not a spectating mode. It is looking at Miegod's perspective, and yeah. In any case, we're going to see the True Silver heal himself up. I guess the only way Miegod wins is to go. He needs to top deck Doomguard and then Power Overwhelming in that order. Right now. So what are the odds of that? We should have a Chinese graphic for that.
Oh yeah, so because sometimes they'll put a cool little stats about the wait, what? No. Oh, and he's 11.1%.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's what he needed. There was that graphic we were talking about.
They showed it after he got the Doomguard. They were ready. They're like, if he draws the Doomguard, go, put it on the screen. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case, and we're breaking trends here. Well, with the Group B, but overall for the day has been more 3-2. So this match going to go to a 5th game. Someone's going to win this 3-2, and someone is going to have their hopes and dreams crushed. I love saying that.
You're just all about the pain and inflicting it on these players here. Last game of their set, and one of the players is going home.
Yep. Who will it be? Which bespectacled man?
I don't know. Newbie Miegod has not impressed me this series necessarily. Has managed to come back and make it, an even one. But now we get a chance to see that same Demon Lock versus Patron Warrior. Yeah.
Wait, which? Did the Patron Warrior or Zoo win earlier this series?
The Zoo one. That's why I could still. No, the.
Well, because both have won. So. Both Miegod's Patron and Love's Zoo has won, but did the Patron win against the Zoo, or did the Zoo win against the Patron?
I think the Patron won against the Zoo. Maybe somebody in chat can remind us, because it's been a little bit of a long day, and I know for me, I started casting at like 12, and now it's like 8:30 a.m., so it's been a long night.
Yeah, that can happen. So yeah, it's just gonna go with the standard play of cycling this Inner Rage, making this act like capable of contesting this ooze. Pretty standard, obviously. And gonna go for the Implosion. Makes sense going for the Implosion this early. Only gets the 2. Miegod, never lucky.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate, we'll call that.
Yeah, he rolled 2 earlier, if you remember.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Is that when or maybe that was when he lost in the first round? Oh god.
It's all blending together.
We've seen so many Patron versus Zoos that I don't even remember. Anyway, we've seen so many Patron Zoos and we've seen so many Patron Druids. It's happened a lot today. In any case, what are we going to see here? We're going to see him sack off his Abusive Sergeant just to get value off his Acidic Swamp Ooze.
And he's going to be able to kill off the Armor Smith too. So, I mean, does he run into phase? I guess he does 3.
He does 3 damage, but I kind of want to see him kill the Armor Smith. The biggest problem I have with this turn is him like wavering back and forth and back and forth. I just think about your play. I mean, just think about what each thing entails instead of just I guess face, you know. So looks like we're probably gonna see a Whirlwind here, unless Love is maybe setting up for next turn. He could just Cruel Taskmaster, I suppose, but having a clear board for your Thorson is pretty good. You're not going to discount much stuff, I suppose, but I guess I guess he has equal power on the board right now, anyway. Which is the same thing as
and he's going to be able to draw into his second Doom Guard. Not necessarily what you want to see in your hand, but works well if you're able to get Void Callers out there a little bit later on. However, he doesn't have any in his hand or on the board, so might be forced to just go for the unlucky Doom Guard play and see how much he discards.
Yeah. Miegod rolling 3 that turn. He is playing super fast, which is not something you want to be doing in what is possibly the most important Hearthstone match of his life. So, yeah. Okay, he's gonna go with that Doom Guard. Just throwing it out there. What do we? This lagging, so I can't see the discard quite yet.
He discarded the other Doom Guard and
Direwolf Alpha. Yeah.
Direwolf Alpha. Yeah.
All right. Well, Love has a way to deal with this, and seeing the other Doom Guard gone is gonna make him pretty happy. Just hits face, executes play of Thorson, and he has a pretty... I mean, just by virtue of having that Grom in hand, his hand quality is pretty high. And Miegod has no way to deal with it. He has no Implosion, so it's not like he can not juggle Implosion his way out of this. Yeah, looking pretty dire.
Yeah, well, even more dire than the Dire Wolf Alpha that was just discarded. Now just playing teeny tiny minions on the board. He does have an Egg Activator, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to press for as much damage as he needs to win this game.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to go with the Grom. Did he? No, wait. Yeah, he didn't have lethal even with the world. I mean, excuse me. Even if the Void Caller, or sorry, excuse me, Void Walker wasn't played, but he could have brought him to 2. In any case, he actually has a way to kill this. But why would you silence it? Why don't you just silence the other one?
Yeah, I think you want to silence Thorson here and then kill the other one. Yeah, there we go. The 8-10 into the 10-8.
Yeah.
Wow. Feels a little bit like when we saw the 20 damage Frothing Berserker run into a Grom earlier in the day.
Yeah, and again, sorry everyone watching for the lag. Not really a whole lot I can do, honestly. We will see probably Battle Rage. The only question is, what does he kill? Okay, he's going to go ahead and kill that. He can take out this Big Owl with his axe. He could also just go face, I suppose. But yeah, he's going to go ahead and do this. If I'm correct, I think he knows that there's going to be no Hellfire in the deck of Miegod, so he knows that he can safely do this, and Miegod has no response. Miegod looking very, very stressed. Picks up the Mal'Ganis, which is probably the best card he has in his deck, but it's probably
unfortunately, yeah, a little bit too little, too late.
And looks gonna have, like, we skipped ahead a little bit there, but yep, definitely going to be lethal there for Love against Miegod, and Miegod is eliminated. Love stays alive.
Wow, and yeah, just like I said, coming into the series, Miegod looking a little bit shaky, and so Love will advance, and that means that he will be the second player of the night to advance to go on to BlizzCon.
Oh, sorry?
I believe that means that he's the second player to go on to... Oh, no, he's the loser. Okay, so we already know two of the players who are going.
No, we don't know anyone yet.
I believe if you win your first match, okay, I was mistaken because we know players that aren't going on, but we don't necessarily. Okay, this is what's confusing me because we've seen four matches from the. We saw four matches from the first group.
We've seen three each.
Okay, I guess the standings are really
they basically
late here.
They gave us blue balls and didn't allow us to see who was going to go to BlizzCon. In the first match, they went straight to the second. They went straight to Group B. So, looking at Group A, let's just use Group A as an example because we don't have the update on the Group B yet. For example,
yeah, that's what was confusing me. I was thinking it was updated and it wasn't.
Yeah, so No Tomorrow is going to play Ice Fox, and the winner of that is going to BlizzCon. Wubu here is out. And Zoro, he managed to defeat Wubu in the lower brackets. So the loser of No Tomorrow and Ice Fox will play Zoro, and the winner of that moves on. It's a normal GSL format, or if you don't know the GSL format, just think of it as a 4-player double elimination bracket. So yeah, we haven't figured out who advanced. I guess we can look at the